world was immense, wild, and full of thunder. The ground shook beneath the feet of giants. This was Earth 9.1 million years ago, a time before civilization, before words, when our earliest ancestors lived in the shadow of monsters. The air hung thick with the scent of rain and decay. Across the great African plains, endless herds of titanic creatures roamed. Towering Gomphotheres, ancient elephant relatives, with tusks like tree trunks, giant rhinos the size of trucks, and monstrous crocodiles that lurked in swollen rivers. For the fragile beings who would one day become human, it was a world both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Chapter 1. The Small Ones. In a cluster of twisted fig trees, a small family of prehensile-like apes huddled together as dawn broke. They were not quite human, 4 feet tall, walking mostly on all fours, with long arms for climbing, but inside their minds flickered something new, awareness. The oldest female, Lura, scanned the horizon. Her golden brown fur shimmered under the early light. Around her, the others murmured softly, exchanging calls, short, rising notes that carried warning or comfort. Their tribe was called the Tama, and they numbered only 9. Lura had seen the giants before, massive shadows moving in the mist, making trees shudder with every step. To the Tama, these creatures were gods and nightmares. Yet they had learned to survive among them, hiding in cliffs, sleeping in hollow trees, and always moving with the wind to mask their scent. Chapter 2. The River of Bones. By midday, the Tama reached the great Coral River, a ribbon of muddy water, winding through grasslands. Here, the giants came to drink. The Tama never approached during the heat of the day, too dangerous. But hunger gnawed at them. The last figs had spoiled, and the dry season was coming fast. A young male, Kanu, crept closer to the riverbank. He was bold, curious, and foolish, the kind who often died first. Lura watched him silently as he sniffed the air. Suddenly, a massive shape emerged from the reeds. A Deinotherium, an ancient elephant with downward curving tusks. Its call rumbled like thunder. The ground vibrated as it approached the river, trunk swinging. Kanu froze. Lura hissed softly, a warning to retreat. But before Kanu could move, the water exploded. A prehistoric crocodile, Ramphosuchus, surged upward, jaws wide enough to swallow a cow. It latched onto the elephant's trunk, twisting violently. The river turned red. The Tama scattered, shrieking. Lura leapt into the nearest tree, clutching a branch as the massive beast struggled below. The Deinotherium trumpeted in pain before breaking free, leaving behind a mangled crocodile thrashing in the shallows. When silence returned, Lura looked down and saw Kanu trembling. He had survived, but barely. That night, the Tama feasted on the scraps left behind, half-digested fish, scraps of hide, and bits of marrow stolen from the crocodile's carcass. It was a gruesome meal, but for creatures at the bottom of the food chain, survival meant taking what the giants left behind. Chapter 3. The Plains of Thunder. Weeks passed. The Tama followed the herds across the grasslands, always searching for food, always avoiding the megabeasts that ruled the land. One morning, a deep rumbling rolled across the plains. Lura's ears twitched. She looked up to see a dark wave moving over the horizon. Hundreds of Chalicotheres, strange clawed herbivores walking like gorillas, grazing on acacia leaves. Behind them came a dust storm of titanic size, the thunder march of the Gomphotheres. The Tama fled into the trees as the herd thundered past. Trees snapped. The ground quaked. Young ones screamed as shadows swallowed the sun. For hours, the family clung to the canopy, watching the endless flood of beasts pass below. To them, these creatures were not just animals. They were forces of nature, gods of flesh and bone. But amidst the awe, an idea flickered inside Lura's mind. If the giants can shape the world by their movement, perhaps the small ones can too, by their cunning. Chapter 4. Fire Without Flame. One evening, lightning struck a dead tree on the plains. The Tama watched from afar as the wood hissed and smoked. Flames licked upward, orange and alive. The fire frightened them, but also called to them. When the storm passed, the air filled with the scent of cooked flesh, something new, something intoxicating. Kanu crept forward and found a small carcass of a ground bird, charred but edible. He bit into it and felt warmth flood through him. He called out, sharing the find with the others. For the first time, the Tama tasted cooked meat, by accident, but it changed everything. The warmth eased their bellies. The taste stayed in their memory. Though they did not yet understand fire, they remembered what it brought. Chapter 5, The Night of Eyes. The dry season deepened. Food grew scarce. Rivers thinned, and predators ruled the night. The Tama took shelter inside a cave, a rare choice for the dark-held danger. As the sun fell, strange eyes blinked in the gloom. Lura froze. A shadow slinked closer. A Macaridus, an ancient saber-toothed cat. Its fangs gleamed in the moonlight. The Tama huddled together, pressing into the back of the cave. There was no escape. Then something strange happened. The wind shifted, and the scent of the charred bird, still clinging to their fur, drifted toward the cat. It hesitated, nose twitching. The smell of smoke, alien to its instincts, confused it. The saber-tooth growled, paced, and finally turned away. The Tama survived because of fire, though they did not yet know it. That night, Lura gazed at the stars outside the cave. The sky glittered endlessly. She felt something stir within, a sense that they were meant for more than running and hiding. Something deep, ancient, and unstoppable had begun. Chapter 6, The Memory of Giants. Years passed. The Tama's descendants spread across the plains, learning to use stones to crack bones, to dig roots, to drink from hidden springs. They mimicked the calls of predators to scare rivals away. The giants still ruled the land, but slowly the small ones began to change the rules. From the shadows, they watched and learned. They remembered which rivers ran dry first, which trees bore fruit twice a year, and which beasts feared fire. And deep in their memories, the story of the great beasts lived on, not as gods, but as teachers. Epilogue, whisper the future. Long after Lura's bones turned to dust, the Tama's bloodline endured. They became smarter, faster, more daring. They learned to walk upright for longer distances, to carry food, to share meaning through sound. The age of Megabeasts would fade, but their echoes would remain in the stories passed from generation to generation, until one day, those tiny minds would look upon the bones of Deinotherium and wonder what kind of world once was. And perhaps they would remember, in some instinctive dream, that once, long ago, the small ones lived among giants and learned how to survive.